All right, I think we are officially recording. But I can kind of touch through my different thoughts
Okay.
after, and I watched myself. Ooh, no, I don't want to. Sorry, I think I almost X'd out and I was like, wait. I watched myself a little bit and I was kind of surprised with how I looked. I just thought I looked angry and like kind of upset. I don't know. Maybe it was like my mask from the side. I don't know. Maybe I'm being a little too critical. But
I didn't think so.
okay.
But I also thought that of mine too. And then I was like, literally when I got done recording, I was like, why was I so upset? Like, I think it was because my student was giving me kind of like a hard time, but in reality, he really wasn't. I was just expecting him to be like perfect, which is not great of me. But yeah, I was
thinking, especially like if they have that reputation or like they usually are on pretty good behavior. I definitely get that. Yeah, that was with the one student I had. Usually he is just right there with me. He's going, and today or that day that I recorded, it was not the case. So,
do you
and so after that
lesson a lot?
Come again?
Have you been teaching like that group and that lesson a lot?
Yeah, and it's a small group. It's just the two students. So, we just kind of talk through it all, and I usually don't have to work pretty hard to, get them to participate. But after that, I definitely think that I need a better like refocuser for, if not that student in particular, or just in general. He got real motivated when I told him that it's going to be homework if you don't finish it. So I told him that at the beginning of the lesson yesterday, and he finished it. He was not happy about it, but he did finish it.
Yeah.
Right. So, yeah, the planning process, I mean, how did that go for you?
It was pretty, I don't know. So I've been having a hard time with a lot of, I don't know. I was before this never super familiar with like scripted curriculum. And a lot of our stuff is like intervention work. So it's like from like a big process book that go to lesson 2. And then if they succeed, go to lesson 5. And like, I've learned a lot about like fidelity and like the importance of like following like the script and stuff. But sometimes it's hard for me because I'm like, this is either super boring and I have to like say everything, or it's just like not engaging. So like kind of I always try to like work around like what I actually need to like include in the lesson, and also what I can kind of like change up, I guess.
So is it like very strict, like you can't veer off of the script?
So that's how it was at the beginning. She had me do like read it like word for word. And that was like really hard for me because it was like, I'm gonna touch the W. I'll say the sound first, and I'll like say what. Now it's your turn. I'm touching the W. What sound? And it's like that with everything. And like I literally thought I was going crazy. And then but she had me do that just because she said like there's like some districts that like you have to do that otherwise, just because like the students are there for this reason and they're like placed on this plan to get them back on track. So like I understand that, but now I don't have to as much. But still, since it's really guided, I think a lot of times when I'm doing my lesson plans, they kind of like looks really similar for this reading group, and then also like the math group I have, because it's that kind of like scripted curriculum, which I don't know. It's hard to be like a fan of it. But then again, I do see my students like they could read one word at the beginning when I started, and now they're reading like sentences, which is
that's nice to see. Cool. Yeah.
But yeah, I think like the planning process is more like I keep thinking like how can I keep them like engaged, and it just changes like every day. Some days they'll like be so excited to like do a workbook page, which I'm like, I don't know why you are. And then some days it's like they don't want to do it. And sometimes I like understand because I'm like, it's not like the most fun and it's pretty repetitive. But I've also realized like they need like the repetition sometimes. Like they're the one students that I feel like I have that it helps them more. Or it's not that's not always the case to like have those routines and stuff. But it's nice to see them like improve through that. But sometimes it's hard to like want to do a lesson plan or like do something, but you have to like stick to the, I don't know.
Yeah, it feels almost very like, I mean, just like unnatural, right? Like this isn't me talking to you.
Yeah.
Okay, I think it's fine. Someone just knocked on the door, but they went away. But yeah, I've had a couple of like, not like scripted word for word. It's more with like math. So give me 1 second.
Yeah.
Okay, sorry, it might have been across the hall.
That's okay.
Anyway, and I haven't had to like read a huge chunk of script, but I have definitely like based what I said off of it. And like I followed their structure. And so yeah, the planning process has been pretty straightforward in that context. The workbook they have now is for division, and there isn't like, at least not that I've seen, like a manual or a teacher manual or anything. So what I've been doing is kind of breaking up the work into the I do, we do, you do.
Sure.
And I've been planning that way. And then I use like sometimes if I have specific language I definitely want to hit, like I'll write that down too in my lesson plan. But also my lesson plans are like I write them down, and it's pretty, open. Well, and I've been doing this for half a semester, right? So like the kids know the routine. We're going to do the math minute, then we're going to do a word problem, then we're going to do a division, and then we're, so I definitely I find myself planning less now than I did initially.
Yeah, definitely.
So yeah, I feel like, let me pull up my reflection. Oh, I did definitely, as far as like the language that I decided to really hit was, oh, these kids are so afraid of division.
I heard you like kind of say that, like, it's not that bad, you can do it.
Oh, we talk about it every day. Literally today I said, Ridwan, like, remember when you were so afraid of this and now you just got like 100% on your exit slip? And so, and she's like, yeah, it's not that bad, I guess. So they're coming around, but that's definitely some language I've been trying to hit.
I was kind of thinking of that too when it was like, I don't know, in one of like the reflection questions, and then kind of also what you said of like yesterday in class, and you're like, gotta build their confidence. And I'm like, yeah, like these kids will read, and it's like so fun because when I heard like when they started this year, they couldn't read like a single word, like
really?
No. And
what age do you have again?
I have kindergarten through second.
Okay, I wanted to say
really young. And so like, I don't know, they've made like huge progress this year and stuff. And like they're really good at reading like just words. Like we have like I don't know, just like one word. And like they're super confident, they get super excited. And then as soon as we have like two words next to each other, they like walk away and they'll be like, Miss Roach, like, oh, I can't do this.
Yeah.
It's like so funny and also like frustrating because I'm like,
right.
You can. But yeah, I'm like, okay, I just need to make them feel like more comfortable or like, like keep encouraging them because they get like so, and sad too. So I'm like, they're so young, but they still feel like they call themselves like stupid or like, I'm like, no, you're doing great.
Yeah, we have a lot of that, especially like middle school. These kids can just be kind of mean to each other, but also themselves.
Yeah.
So you do a lot of like no put downs.
Mm-hmm.
So I get that too. And it's sad that it starts so young. I mean, if you're seeing it then, like,
I know. And then I'm also like, yeah, like I'm always like, oh, these kids are so young. But especially like our second graders, I'm like, they're not that young. Like they're smart. They know stuff. Or if like we have like the older kids in the classroom, I'm always like,
mhm,
oh, like the little kids. But they really like are very self-aware. And it's like
mhm.
you don't even realize it's like I don't even remember elementary school that much, but like this is like, I don't know. They
They're
already know
figuring out
that.
life. Yeah.
Yeah. But yeah, I think too, and like modeling like good positive self-talk is like something I should
Mhm,
keep doing or just
mhm,
incorporate more
for
I
sure.
don't think then when like they go into their normal classroom that they like feel confident at all to do any reading. Because I'll talk with like their general ed teacher and they'll be like,
Mhm.
they can do that or like, you know.
Yeah.
So
Mhm.
it's in more settings.
Um, well, I took some notes on your, like, when I was watching the video. Do you want me to just like hit some of
Sure.
those?
Yeah.
Okay. Um, I love the way you started and it was very boom, boom, boom. This is what we're gonna do. And like the review was really concise. And then a lot of the pre-corrections you were giving, like remember to think before answering and what's the sign and like that kind of thing. Um, and this may have been like a part of the script, but I wrote that I liked how you use each word that the kid read in a sentence after that to kind of like repeat
Mm.
or get that repetition in. Um, I wrote down at some point he must have gotten off track and you said, will you tell me if I'm doing this right? And I liked that because it's not like, hey, come do your homework for me, but like see if I,
Oh my gosh. He was
different
like
way.
literally walking around the classroom, or his head was like on his desk and he's like answering me. I was
Uh, hey, you got something. That's
like,
goodness. Um, oh, I had a question. So you're doing like the sounds, right? And like the
mhm.
words and all that. Do you find it difficult to do it with masks, or do you ever have like the clear masks, or what's that situation?
We do have a clear mask, but it like instantly fogs up and it's kind of gross. And
Yeah, I haven't
but yeah,
used
it is
one.
kind of hard, especially with like I mean, I think they both of my students have for this group, like they both go to like the speech pathologist, so they know or they've been introduced, but like our new
Mhm.
sounds are like shh, and like they've never seen an sh, but
Right.
like there's a lot of like hand gestures that my mentor teacher has just taught me, and like all the vowels we use it like every time we'll go like itchy
Oh,
chin or
okay.
like I don't know, or ah is like a circle. So like
Hmm.
most of the time I like have to do that if they're stuck on a vowel.
Yeah.
Yeah, it is hard because I can't like mouth them. Like
Right.
it takes a lot more like effort to give them
Mhm.
hints or something. But
Yeah, that makes sense for sure.
with like the kindergartners, it's hard because
Mhm.
I don't know.
Yeah, and I mean, I feel like half of learning how to say the word is
Yeah,
seeing.
looking at it or
Yeah,
modeling.
yeah. Hmm. Yeah, I mean, I guess that's just one more thing we're adapting with.
Mhm.
Um, so I think that I wrote down you meant like the refusals really well, with the encouraging, excuse me, breaking down the work. So like, we're only going to do this part right now. And yeah, I mean, of course I couldn't see the kid, but I thought
Yeah, and sorry, I didn't really like show any of the material.
no, you're good. And I think that's the way it was supposed to be.
Okay.
At one point, one of my students, he took his pencil and he was like doing this in the camera. And I was like, no, we're not
My
doing that.
student usually like every time, but then I told them not for this one just because it wasn't going to like it was going to you and maybe I was like going to submit it and stuff.
Mhm.
But usually every time he's like, I want to say hi to your professor. And I'm like,
Yeah.
this patient, but I'm like, whatever, you signed your form, so I don't really think it matters that much. But usually they're always like I'm ending it and they're like, like girls.
Oh, that must be fun. That's definitely a different energy than middle school. That's funny.
Yeah, it is fun, but I don't know. Not that I'm not an elementary teacher person, but I don't know if I am. Totally. It's
Like so much energy. And I think that's a different vibe, like then once you get with the older kids, they don't need as much of the, stuff to stay engaged. I mean, they still need stuff, but not the big voice and da, 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 and
yeah, like it's funny. The things I like catch myself doing, like whatever works. Like
I've had some of
like
those
I'm like playing Play-Doh on the floor, and like I'm sure it could just be like it's just that could be like any age too, but like yeah, when they're like 6, it's a kind of but it's I don't know. I like middle school though a lot. I think I want to do middle school.
I like middle school a lot too. I'm really enjoying it. And like the kids you have a wide range of like the kids who still are like, wide-eyed, loving, everything. And then the sass and the angst comes in and, but they're starting to figure out the world more and like you can have those real conversations with them.
And I really like that about
for sure. But yeah, those are my thoughts about watching your video. I thought it was great.
Thanks. I guess I didn't really do notes on your video, but more so like on your reflection, and I kind of use that to like watch your video, I guess. But
yeah, well, that's perfect.
Sorry, I'm eating jelly beans right now.
Totally fine.
I'm hungry.
That Easter candy's on sale.
Okay. Let's see. I kind of liked just how you went over everything and like comfortable with the group, and I could definitely tell you were comfortable with them and like had a good connection with all of was it 2 kids?
Yep.
Yeah.
Okay. Girl and boy.
And just like also like the positive like talk, and it wasn't anything like too like you guys are like really real, and I feel like that's what like middle school students like need, and that's what like is more genuine and like appreciative and like really like sticks with them. So I thought that was like really important. Also just like the planning process of, I don't know, I like resonated with you saying you kind of anticipated that you might not get to something and like that's okay, and then working around like when will you need to finish lesson, or because every day like it's hard, and that's what I didn't know at first. Like I thought like we're doing lesson 7 today, like we have to get it done, and then
rarely does that happen.
Yeah, and then it's like hard because you have to figure out like then do I finish it up and start a new lesson with half the time, and so that's like good to plan out and also like be mindful of, because like if you don't, then it just it's not like a meaningful lesson too, because you just rush through it, or else like
right. And like with that, I like to have an idea of like the next couple things we're doing. So like right now we did dividing by 4s today. So then we did 5 yesterday. So 6 and 7 are coming up. So like I kind of know the sequence. And so, and then it makes it easier for planning with like the whole week. Whereas like if I didn't get thing 1 done or something done today, it's not like derailing the entire plan. I can still just kind of I don't know where that sentence was going, but it's there.
Okay. Do you have like multiple teachers in your classroom too at the same time?
Yeah, so it's kind of chaotic, and especially the days where the kids got a lot of energy. So we have 5 kids in the pull-out or in the completely the whole time is in the specialized math. So 3 of them are at one level and the other 2 are the other. So one of us will take one group, and we've been kind of switching on and off. And then we have three more kids who come down for pull-out math halfway through the block. So there's a lot going on. And I do definitely feel for the kids though, because sometimes I'm like, there's so much happening. I can hear them yelling over here, and I'm trying to talk to you about this, and this person's
and I
having
can tell that too, and like that a lot of times that'll happen like in my, I don't know, like in our, it's mostly, we have a really small school, so our group is like pretty small throughout the day.
Okay.
But and we like are split up from the other special ed grades just because of COVID stuff, so we're not all in the same room. But yeah, I don't know, it's hard sometimes because you want to like give them all the reminders to like stay focused and stuff, but you're also like, yeah, there's like kid like, I don't know, like today we had like a kid like swearing, like he just stormed into the room and was like going crazy, and I like just don't really think anything of it, but of course these kids are like,
right,
ignore it, like keep working. But yeah, and especially if I feel like if I was a student, I'd be like so distracted, but it's hard because there's never like enough room or never enough like space, and you want them with everyone, but it's like also
and like I don't know about you, but like we are really short staffed for paras. And so we are always like running around trying to cover you know, this class or that class. And
yeah, we kind of are too. I think they just like didn't give us as many paras this year too because of COVID, but and then if one's like sick, it's like they call us to like come get a kid, but I'm like, I'm teaching a class, like we can't just leave, like we're just hard. And that's like interesting to kind of navigate too, of like how do you like, I mean, sometimes the behaviors are like really bad that they do need like the teacher, someone other than a para maybe, but at the same time, like that's not, that can't be like you can't just stop a kid's like instruction.
Right. And like we've run into that a couple times too. And I mean, when there's multiple people in the room, it goes a little smoother. It was very stressful for me when she had to go, but I mean, and I think that's definitely a vibe I've gotten is like the special ed teachers, like basically, I think are perceived as they are always on call and available to whatever you need and or your student needs.
Because it's like, and I understand though, like general ed teachers like have a huge class or something, like they have to teach too, but it doesn't always work out to like expect us to like
I'll just drop it all.
drop everything. But I think what I was kind of getting at is you did a good job like redirecting your students, and like, you know, it's hard sometimes and kind of, I don't know, discouraging. Like sometimes I take it really personally. I'm like, boring. Like, I don't know. You finish this, or like, especially if they kind of like do shut down. I don't know. And also I feel like with older kids, it's hard, but
it's harder to convince them to come around.
Yeah, like bribe them, or if they get like stubborn or something. But your student did come around, right? And
yeah. And yeah, he came around. Yesterday, he did not. What happened yesterday? Oh, and like that's the other thing too is, so this kid he's got some issues with some other kids who are chasing him after school or something. You know, some whatever. But I could tell he was really stressed about that because it was at the end of the day and he's thinking about like, oh, I have to go home. And so that's also something too, is like I try to remind myself.
Like there's bigger things. It could be like not even school.
Right.
Today my student, like the same one, I was kind of getting upset with him because he didn't say a single word to me, but just meowed at me all day. And to a point where I was like, you're being really disrespectful. Like he was like hissing and like, and I kind of thought it was funny, but also it's just like, you're not doing anything. Like, and I got kind of mad. I mean, as mad as I will get at him, but I was just like, what can I do? Like I was trying everything and he just wouldn't like, and I just kind of had to give up and like accept that maybe like he's having a like something's going on. And then I felt so bad because then like the counselor came in and like gave me a little update on him. I was like,
Mhm.
oh, like he's going through some stuff and all he can do is meow and that's fine. Like,
Right.
I'll take it.
Once you hear some of the stuff that these kids are dealing with, it's like, I get it now, you know?
Yeah, I'm like, I don't know. It's hard to like balance of like, okay, like you can take 20 minutes to meow. Like it's at, I don't know. Like it's hard to know when to like push when it's not like an everyday occurrence, I guess.
Yeah, I
Yeah,
definitely.
balance. Kind of.
Hmm.
Okay, I was also kind of wondering, do we have to do the considerations? I know it's maybe, well, we're recording, but I don't think that's everything.
Good.
But
I
because
think,
in
go
the
ahead.
reflection, it said like based on the considerations you filled out.
I think this was my understanding, like everything that's on the considerations is what we should be considering.
Talking about.
Right, but I don't think we had to fill it out.
Okay,
I did
well,
not,
that makes sense. I kind of want
but
to pull up the good considerations, just
yeah,
look through like some.
some of the think about them.
Oh, and also like you did like the guided, unguided.
Mm. Mm-hmm. That came across. Good. I've been doing for unguided practice, exit slips, basically the entire
Mhm.
semester. And it's really, I like it a lot and I can see like myself doing it more.
Mhm.
Um, I mean, and they're easy to make. It's quick and
Mhm.
it's just like the same problems that they did during the unguided. Um, and yeah, and so like it's easy to keep that data too.
Yeah, do you
Um,
use that data for the exit slips? Like
yeah.
it?
Uh-huh. So they do have an opportunity to correct it if they fail.
Okay.
So they get half credit back. And then I have like a binder with all of their like exit slip grades. So once like we did enough, you could really see, okay, this student still struggled with X, Y, and Z, but they were
Mhm.
fine and
Mhm.
multiplying or whatever. So yeah, I like doing that a lot. And also the kids know, like it's a routine now. So they're
Yeah.
like, oh, exit slip, cool,
Mhm.
Um, so
Mhm. Have you
yeah.
like learned a lot? Like I feel like this semester I learned a lot about assessment and like what it actually looks like because we do similar like the end of the lesson like can be something quick or fill in like Mondays we work on ordering numbers, Tuesday we work on comparing. So then like by the end of the week we have like kind of a group of the whole week and how they did and then that goes into like their data and stuff. And I feel like before student teaching I didn't really like I didn't know exactly what like data collection even looked like, I guess.
Yeah, me
Like at
too.
all.
Yeah. And like I thought it was something like, oh, you collect data every once in a while to just check
Mhm.
in. But like we do it really consistently. I
Yeah,
mean,
and it should be like pretty much like you're doing a lesson and like how are you proving that the student is doing this
Mhm.
or this and which I
Right.
think goes well with like how drilled it is to do like what's your assessment or like what's your objective for the lesson and then that just like fills in. I guess it just never really clicked for me like that the exit ticket would be like the assessment, I guess, to like measure.
And like something else that I have like thrown a couple exit slips out because after they took it, I realized I made it poorly. Or, and sometimes I'm like, oh, well, no wonder they got that wrong.
Mhm.
I didn't put, um, or the number was too big for them, like the cognitive load, right? Like,
Mhm.
I've had a couple of those where it's like they know how to do it, but they got the calculations wrong. Or I was like, oh, they forgot to answer. Well, I didn't put a line there for them to write their answer in. So like those weird like detail things I've also learned where like if you're making something yourself, you have to really be careful.
Yeah.
Mhm. But yeah, the data, it's like constant. Do you guys use Fontes and Pinnell?
Mm-mm.
Okay. And that's what we use for reading. So we like
Okay.
benchmark and
What's
um
it called?
Fontes and Pinnell.
Mm.
Um and they have like reading levels A to Z.
Okay.
And so they have the benchmarks where you basically the sheet that we got in Andrew Johnson's class,
Sure.
the errors, self-correct, all that kind of thing.
Mm-hmm.
That's what it is.
Okay. We do dibbles. So kind of,
Okay.
I mean, are they like, they're like reading and you like mark kind of what, yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
We do that. We do it every Friday with our like kids we have for reading,
Mhm.
which is like takes up a lot of time. She just does assessments like every Friday.
Mhm.
But I don't know, it kind of takes a while.
It does, and especially if you're trying to do it like we are, I feel like constantly trying to catch up with, okay, this kid needs this assessment, this kid needs
Mm-hmm.
that one. And especially if we don't, I mean, they're moving classes all the time, and so we may not only see them once a day.
Mm-hmm.
So if you're running out of time, just SOL for that minute.
No.
Um, but yeah, what other things are on the considerations?
Yeah. So I guess just the body, like what you do for unguided practice. So you do like exit tickets. I guess for mine, I I talked a lot with my advisor about this part because through like Fidelity too, she does something in the district with like assessments and she's kind of like a admin for the special ed people. And so
Okay.
she was really into like Fidelity and making sure like not to veer off from that, but also I can add in like my own like whatever words and stuff. But
Mhm.
I had a hard time like getting unguided and guided practice like specific like in that order because it's like telling me what to do, I guess. So that's the only thing that I feel like definitely
Okay,
not.
so like the curriculum you're going off of doesn't really follow the guided, unguided.
Not really.
Okay.
Not like example wise. Like I'll do some of it, but when they're given like their worksheet, it literally just says do the whole worksheet by yourself and turn it in.
Interesting.
When
Okay.
there's like 6 parts to it that like don't have any instructions or they can't read them because it's just like weird to me. And I'm like,
Yeah.
but I do go through the worksheet with them when we
Mhm.
use that as like the exit ticket and stuff.
Yeah.
I don't really know.
Well, and that kind of reminds me, at one point we had like our comprehension reading stuff, and then we also had our phonics reading stuff.
Mm-hmm.
And the comprehension part had some phonics in it, but it was like not matching up to this other phonics thing we were doing.
Mm-hmm.
Um, so then I ended up just like it just wasn't aligned. Like we were doing
Mm-hmm.
chuck over here and then I don't know, CVC words over
Mm-hmm.
here. So we ended up just like mixing up the order and we
Mm-hmm.
did
So they aligned a little bit better.
I
Mm-hmm.
don't know how that I thought of that I got there, but something it connected
No,
to it.
I know. I've like had to kind of like change around this stuff
Mhm.
to make it more like work a little bit better because I feel like it's exactly what I was doing that we were told not to do is like hand the kids a worksheet because
Right. And like worksheets, they can be useful.
mm-hmm.
Just gotta be careful with it.
Ooh, I guess the one thing so me and my mentor teacher try this a lot because she's really good friends with my advisor. So like kind of when we have like my meetings with her after a lesson,
Mhm.
my mentor teacher will be like, because she's it's her first year teaching back. She like took like a 5-year break, but
Okay.
she had taught for like a really long time. So it's like her first year back teaching again. So she's always like, give me more tips. Like, what are you learning? Like, I feel like I'm new too. So we kind of like do our like goals together. Like if I make a goal for like whatever with my advisor, we do it together. But one of them was like specific feedback. And it's something like super little, but we would like have like sticky notes around, like make sure we give them specific feedback.
Yeah.
Because we like rewatched a video of us and we're like, good job, like nice work, like that was great. And it's just like you kind of realize. But I guess for like the feedback part of just like any lesson, it's been like so helpful. And it took me like a month and a half to get it down, actually, to be like, now in time, for the most part, like if I'm correcting a student or like giving them feedback, and it helps me so much because then I'm like verbalizing like, oh yeah, like student A is really good at making his letters now or whatever, and like that's what we need, or I don't know, like, and then I say it out loud. I'm like, in my head, I'm like, oh, he's improving on that, like,
Yeah.
or not mixing up his like 6 and his 8 when he's rating 68, and I'm like, oh, good job doing that. And then it kind of like, I don't know, keeps me like a little bit more accountable.
Yeah, I like that for sure. I definitely, after watching some bits of mine, I was like, I feel like specific that, but also I need more positive of like, I find myself saying, write it down, because I'm trying to keep it moving. You're right.
I know.
But yeah, I also need to work on the positive feedback and then specifically what for. But like you, it's like just a matter of getting in the habit of it. It sounds like.
And it's something like so little. Like I feel like I was really focused on that for a while. I don't know, probably should have been focused on something bigger, but whatever. But it's something that like definitely that, and like I like always forgot my closings like every day, because it'd be like the transition, and then it'd be like they'd literally be like out the door getting hand sanitizer on.
Yeah.
Oh well, no closing today. Like,
yeah, I do the same thing. I think on my SORM, I put doing the closing for 2 times as a goal because I was like, I keep forgetting it.
And sometimes same with like introduction.
Like,
I just always forget. Like I'm just like, okay, let's get started.
Let's just dive in and yeah. But just gotta get in the habit, I guess. That's what I'm trying to tell myself. I'm like, eventually I'll get there.
I think so too. Like, just get more used to it. And
right.
I know it's kind of like scary right now because I'm like, there's so much I need to do or like can't do or need to learn, but it'll just come, I guess. Practice, because I feel like I've learned so much this semester.
Me too.
That like next year I'll just have to learn and it will be fine.
Yeah. Something I've been thinking about is just like all the programs that teachers use. Like, I don't know about y'all, but like we have so many. And I'm like, how do you learn all these to use all of these?
Like just like online, like
we've got like Infinite Campus, which like that's normal. We've got Prodigy, iExcel, RazKids, Epic. I mean, just on and on and on and on. And I'm like, whew.
Yeah, like how do you keep track of it? And
right. But again, that'll come.
Have you been applying anywhere yet?
Yeah, I have been applying. I heard, so I got an email that Mankato is starting their interviews soon.
Okay.
So if you're applying over there, then I think by the end of this week. And I'm still on I'm in the middle of a lot of applications. I've got a couple out. I'm so glad you said that.
Me too. I'm like, oh, last night I only got a heart attack when they're like, I already have jobs. And I'm like,
no, not me.
I know. I need to just get them all done this weekend, or I don't know. And I'm having a hard time. Do I want to stay in Mankato? I don't know.
I'm kind of in the same boat. I'm like, I wouldn't mind it. But I'm also very open to going somewhere else.
Me too. And I'm like, where? Like, I just go on like all the job openings online, and I'm like, I don't even know anything about any of these towns.
Yeah, I have a sticky note and it's just opening after opening all over
It's kind of
Minnesota.
scary. Like, there's so many, which I
Yeah,
know, like, that's a good thing, but also, is it?
right. It's like I've got a lot of choices, but that means I have to choose.
Uh-huh. You know,
I
and
think
I
it's,
don't know too much about like the city's area of like good schools. Like,
yeah, I'm not from there, so I don't really know either. Um, in the few times I found myself in the city's area, I've definitely been driving around a lot more though. Like when I was up in Shakopee for the exams, I drove around Shakopee. I went to Bloomington a little bit
mm-hmm.
for an errand once, and so I'm trying to get my feelers out. But
I know. I know. I was just gonna like go look at. Now I'm just like with everything happening again in Minneapolis, I'm like, oh,
um,
like I was just gonna go look at some apartments this weekend, and then I'm like, oh, everything's like boarded up again. Like it's just kind of
yeah,
sad that like I can get so like close to home and
mhm. I
gonna happen,
mean,
and
it's scary and upsetting from here. Imagine just
like I can't
being,
imagine. And then like having like I don't know who it was last night that said that like they teach in that area, and having
mhm.
like your high school students like so impacted by that, and like makes me really sad for them and like their families, and like that's a direct like, which I'm sure everyone in the cities right now it is directly impacting them, but it's like
Mhm.
even I don't know, but that's just like real life, but also I don't
Still
know.
sucks.
Yeah. It does.
Well, was there anything else from the videos or reflections you wanted to chat about?
Um, Not really. It was kind of just nice to talk about.
Yeah, I think I'm a very much a verbal processor, so
Mhm.
this was good. I think we covered a lot.
I think you're doing a great job.
Thank you. You as well. Look at us doing it.
Yes.
Okay, I'm gonna go ahead and stop recording.